Hey, what's up, everyone? It's the end of day one, or near the end of day one. I've been recording here in the studio on my 30-day album project, and I wanted to show you a few things. Today, I want to talk about amp simulators. Now, people poo-poo amp simulators. They say, oh, it will never replace a real amp. But I tell you a situation in which it will replace a real amp. When you're trying to do an album in 30 days, and you're trying to get rough mixes in shape in a day, the second you record in a room next to a big ass amp like those that are sitting back there, you're gonna blow out your ears, and it's gonna be difficult to mix. So using an simulator is a fantastic option. So let's just jump into Cubase. I'll show you guys what I did today. So I have this song. We can listen to a bit of it. And I start with this delay guitar. You'll hear it. Oh, I should listen to headphones. I know how to do audio. So you can hear the delay, the drums come in, and these are all sample drums.
Felt like nothing,
There's the drums.
with nothing left to say. Or
And then I have a little organ line here, and these are just
felt like
the
something
chords actually quantized on basically whole notes,
was standing in my way.
and it's A major, G major, D major.
Make it back.
Here comes in the B part, which is actually still the A part. And the bass comes in with the drop, obviously. Then I have this little fill here. Oh wait, it's at the end of the other four bars. Hold on. So you will go back to the first part over the A section.
Standing in my way, and I might not make it back. Acting like you didn't know.
So you hear that fill into the chorus, and the chorus is just the chords inverted. So instead of A, G, D, it's G, D, A. Okay, that's basically a good enough representation of what's going on in the song. But I wanted to show you a little something about amp simulators and the ones that I used in particular. Now, this mix is, of course, very rough, and I'll probably want to redo some of the vocals, and I'll need to get in there with Vari audio, especially on the parts where I sing together. And I want to do a little bit of tuning. I mean, everybody does it. It's not that big a deal. So I'll use Vari Audio to tune some vocals. But today I want to talk about amp simulators. Simulators are great because you can play at a low volume but get a rough finished tone. And if you always want, you can just strip everything and reamp it. And I may show that later. Now this, though, I was just trying to sequence very quickly to get the arrangement of the song down. And it's about a 3-minute song. So here in Cubase, you can see this is total charlatan move. I just got a good 4 bars and just duplicated, and then I did the chorus and then just duplicated. So they're chopped, and they're not even really well edited. They're going to need to be redone, but I wanted to get everything down because once you have the song in your head, it's easier to play it from start to finish if you know the arrangement, if you know how the parts change, that type of thing. And I was using these for tones. This is a free Ibanez Tube Screamer 808 pedal, and it's made by TSE, and that was at the front of the signal chain. And then both of the amps I used on actually the delay track is just a clean version of the rhythm tracks without the delay on it, obviously, and without the 808 on it. But these are free plugins. They're called Poulin amplification plugins, and I will link to those in the description because they're dope. Now, Poulin used to make an impulse response, so you need to put an impulse response behind these for them to work, and that's like a cabinet simulation through convolution. But the Poulin Les Cab impulse response loader is actually 32-bit, so it doesn't work with Cubase Pro 9. As a result, in addition to this Poulin, and I can show you the other rhythm track that I have, Rhythm 2, appropriately named. This has the JCM 800 simulator, and then the other track is the Ecstasy, which is supposed to be like a Bogner Ecstasy simulator. And then my impulse response loader is this program called NadIR by Ignite Amps, and I'm using impulses from the Redwirez free Marshall 1960A library, and I'll put links to all of that stuff, the free amp simulators, the free cabinet convolution cabinet simulator, the free cabinet impulse responses. So that is 3 different sources. It's Poulin amplification, it's Ignite amps for the cabinets, and it is Redwirez for the impulse responses, in addition to TSE for the 808 plugin. So this is all free plugins to get these tones. Now, when I go back and do the final versions, especially remixing, I'll obviously not just copy and paste the guitar parts. I will play it all the way through, and I'll play it through an amp, but I'll do that on a day where I have more time and I need to do less mixing, and I don't want to blast out my ears. So that is amplification through amp sims to do writing, and I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a good idea. Now, let's also talk about today reference tracks. I obviously can't put the reference tracks in because I don't want to get this video, what's the word? Copyright stricken, copyright striked. So, but it's always good to mix to reference tracks, and I haven't brought them in yet. I like to just sequence first and then do a quick mix, a rough mix to a reference track. But I will do that in my reference tracks for this project. This Felt Like Nothin song that I'm doing is going to be the Marshall Tucker Band. That song, gonna take a straight train down to the station. I don't want to sing too much of it because I don't want to get copyright striked. Can't You See? It's called Can't You See by the Marshall Tucker Band. And I don't actually have that, so I'll just pull it up on Spotify. But if I did have it, I could actually dump it into Cubase, and we can make sure all the gain levels were the same. But that's not a big deal. You can listen to it on Spotify to A-B it. And the other one, I think, will be Joe Cocker's version of that song Feelin' All Right, which was initially done by the band Traffic. It's probably written by Dave Mason or the other guy, Stevie Winwood. Probably Dave Mason. That would be my guess. Don't quote me on that. I obviously didn't do research before I started doing this video. I just sort of am winging it. But so what I've done today is, made this song, and I kind of feel like it's in the vibe of those songs. So I'm going to pull those songs up on Spotify, listen to them, listen to those mixes, see those mixes are a reference. Now, you should use a reference mix sort of to see where you're off or to where you're deficient, but you shouldn't try to make it sound exactly like those songs. I think that you should try to make it sound like your song. But reference mixes are always good in case you're just sort of blindly missing something that you need to put in, or something is sort of totally off in the mix and you just can't really hear it because you're too close to the song because you've been tracking, writing, producing for the last 4 hours and you don't know where to go from here. A reference track is a great thing to use. So my takeaways from today are: don't fear the amp sims. Use a reference tracks for mixing because it's not going to kill anybody. And that's about it. So I'll let you go out a little bit on maybe my ripping guitar solo, which I'll probably redo, but for this song. And I hope this has been helpful today. I'll be back tomorrow with another song and more tips and tricks on production. Here we go.